Wait. So I got my microphone cover on right now, so you're not going to be able to hear me too well. Well, you're not going to be able to see me at all. We're live. I have not done a live stream in a long time. I got a beer. I had some other stuff to do. I'm curious to see how the task manager is handling this right now. Uh, it's going pretty good, from what I can see. We got a viewer. Great. I know I probably titled this "Rambling About the Debates," but my overall opinion on that can be summarized in a few minutes or a few seconds. It was a clusterfuck. It was funny. The bits I saw. I didn't watch all of it because I hate Trump. I've always hated Trump. I've always despised Trump. I mean, you go back 5 years ago. Wait, did I probably privated that video. I'm also a little bit tipsed. Because that debate was a shit show. It was like, oh my god. The last bit of it I want to talk about, though. That's what I want to really talk about. Because this wasn't a dog whistle what Trump did. This was a goddamn foghorn to the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are a white supremacist hate group. They are only slightly to the left of the KKK and neo-Nazis. That's how bad they are. I will give Biden credit. Biden said the following. I have a feeling this is going to be rated. That's funny. That's okay. Also, this is the first live stream I'm using on my new setup. So even if I was recording, my face would be turned facing forward instead of facing the camera. But how do you process as an American? And I did research on the Proud Boys. I had to for assignment in college because I was comparing Black Bloc, which is the more militant sect of Antifa, and the Proud Boys. And it was a social movements course. And yes, no matter how evil something like that is, the KKK or neo-Nazis, it is considered a social movement. Doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just factually what it is. So I compared the two, and I have that somewhere. Maybe I could get it up on stream just to share my conclusions. Let's see if we have it. Notes. Uh, where the hell is it? What was this? Here it is. I think. Okay. Here it is. Nope, that's the rubric. I can't find the subject. Wait. Maybe this is it. Oh, come on. Man. Oh, shit. So I get for using a 5-year-old mic. I don't know where the hell this file is. This is fucking funny. Man, these files are... Ah. Here it is. What the hell? It's like, oh, here's the video. I mean, here's the file. No, it's a blank document. Okay. Wait. Is this it? No, wait. Oh, okay. It was not comparing it was not comparing the black bloc and it was comparing Refuse Fascism and the Proud Boys, which are two different sects, not just in political philosophy, but also in response. The Proud Boys are often armed, carrying loaded weapons, and Refuse Fascism, they do not do that. They are a non-violent form of anti-fascism, but I don't know if I want to talk about that. I guess what I really want to talk about is just maybe, I'm going to get the hat. I'm going to take this out. Um, I'm going to get this back to Bluetooth. This is why I hate live streaming, because this is where all the mistakes can happen, or all the annoyances. It is raining, by the way. It is raining pretty heavily. I want to mute this. It is what it is with trying to get this to work. I'm going to move this window so I can do like an actual freaking video. So what's up, everybody? Hope you all are doing okay. Hope you enjoying this shitty live stream. There's no other way I can describe it except a shitty live stream. This is angled really shittily. I can't believe how badly this is angled. I should probably just stop messing with this thing because but I can't. I have had. I now have a meme format for the right wing. Leftists can't also meme. They can't set up a webcam worth shit for live streaming. Come on. Her. Okay. 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 We're going to say that this is okay. I don't know why you would want to come in for this part of the video. I don't really know. I don't necessarily care. I do know that people are watching me now, and my computer fan is being relatively loud, but I am able to record live from my computer. The computer is telling me it's not using really anything. I do gotta mess with this if I want to live stream again. Thanks for the one like. We're 11 minutes into the stream, and it'd be good if we had people talking or chatting. I don't know. I'm probably gonna delete this stream afterwards because this was a shit show. So, cheers to you if you got through that whole thing, debate. I don't know what I really want to say. Well, I will say what's on my mind because that's the point of a live stream. I guess what I want to say is I can't fathom how you can still support Trump at this point. Firstly, his tax returns were leaked. The leaked tax returns confirm that Trump used the presidency to save his own ass from financial ruin. Second point, if you are an evangelical and a true believer, then you should not support Trump on the basis that he doesn't value your faith, he doesn't value what you believe, he views what you believe as a means to an end because evangelicals are often Republican voters. But maybe my words are on deaf ears. Deaf ears, my bad. You know, I kind of feel depressed after watching that debate. The clips I saw. I mean, it feels weird to complain about the formalities of a debate, of a presidential debate, but you know, when I think back to the ones I've seen, like vividly, like the ones I was alive for to see, the ones with Obama and McCain, ones with Sarah Palin and Biden, and Sarah Palin was a whole bag of nuts in her own right. I can't believe I even just said Sarah Palin in a positive light in comparison to Trump. I can't believe I just said that. You know, Obama and Romney, Biden and Ryan. You just need to think about what's happening. And if we could survive 4 more years of this fucking guy. I mean, I don't understand how you can look at what's happening in this country when you see nonstop videos of police brutality, of police brutalizing the American people, and not just be enraged by it. Not only not be enraged, but question the levels of training, question the reasons for a police system to begin with. I'm not saying all police are bad, but the police system is extremely flawed and needs major reforms. And maybe reforms will come through the process of defunding it. And at the end of the day, defund the police can be viewed as just a slogan. It's an aggressive statement to try to get people to fight against police brutality and to hold police more accountable. But it seems that that's not even going to work. The Breonna Taylor thing was a prime example of that. That just scared me, the verdict. And the fact that there were reports coming out that, one, prosecuting these guys to the levels that they should have been prosecuted wasn't even on the table. And then maybe, I think there's another level. The fact that you had a black man, okay, who experiences more oppression than I ever could in my life, who would more likely face police violence more so than I ever could. The person who would be singled out more likely than not by a police officer. Even though he's a Republican, even though he is the Attorney General. His experiences outweigh my own in that field because at the end of the day, I have white privilege. Even though I don't consider myself white, even though as a Jewish man, I view my white privilege as a very temporary thing. Someone like that, regardless of their political alignment, should have shown solidarity towards the black community. Now you might go, well, black people are a monolith. I'm not saying black people are a monolith. I disagree with a black person that supports conservative policy just on the same level that I would disagree with a Jewish person who supports conservative policies. But there should just be like a basic human level where you see something so horrific and go, these people need to be put in their place and and they need to be shown to be an example of where the actions will have consequences. And they weren't. The person who got charged the most got charged with shooting a wall. You can't tell me that the words of Dr. King don't ring as true today as they did back in the 60s. To quote him, riots are the language of the unheard. And let me finish that quote because it would be irresponsible of me to just... Okay, the finished quote is... Okay, there's actually a little more to that. Riots are self-defeating and self-destructive. But in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. It is something that we can condemn because riots do hurt people. Riots hurt people's businesses. They hurt people's livelihoods. They are self-defeating and self-destructive, as King pointed out. But it is also true that they are the language of the unheard. For one to look at social policies, social movements, social justice, one has to be willing to understand points they disagree with to the best they can, so that they can not only counter them, but so that they can empathize with it. And I had this discussion, might seem like a non sequitur, but I believe it is an important point because I am a college student. And I believe the point of college is for ideas to be challenged, ideals to be challenged, core principles that one has to be challenged. I don't really believe that made sense. Hello. I'm glad you like my reviews. You probably will not like what I said about Trump earlier in the stream. Just a heads up. But I want to talk about empathizing with people who you vehemently disagree with and whose positions you despise. It's a lack of empathy that the people you will disagree with have. I'm like that with people I know. But I believe it's also important to try to understand where they're coming from to the best of your ability. I think the biggest thing in American society that's extremely stupid and problematic is this idea. You don't talk politics. Well, why don't you talk politics? Well, because you might offend people. So what? You offend people. You say something offensive. You say something politically incorrect. At least you got out of the basement. You get... The problem is, you know what the biggest issues here are? That we can see with all the civil unrest, we don't talk to each other. We demonize people. And I believe that on the conservative side, there are points of view that they have that are worthy of demonization. Because I believe some of these positions are wrong. I believe many of their anti-LGBTQ positions are wrong. I believe their willingness to demonize the right to choose is one. And I'm going to say this as clear as I can. There's a reason it's called pro-choice and not pro-abortion. One might have the argument that, well, pro-choice is just a euphemism. I will not deny that is not a okay argument to have. I don't agree with that argument, but I will say I can't disagree with that view, but I will say this. In my point of view, there's a reason it's called pro-choice. Because if a woman gets pregnant in their teens, they want to have that child. They have every legal right to have that child. Same, in my mind, goes on the position of abortion. A woman has the right to choose to have an abortion and to not have an abortion. All right. I'm stating my opinions to be as clear as I can because I believe in being concise and being as real as possible. One of my regrets in my content I made years ago is that I got very angry and I got extremely aggressive. I understand why I got like that, but I'm smarter than just some guy on the internet who rants. You know, one of my professors said this about me. You're a scholar, act like it. So, to be a scholar, one has to be as real as possible. They have to choose their words carefully, and they have to think extremely critically about what they say and how they say it. I would encourage you to go with Biden instead of Trump. Earlier on in my video, in this stream actually, I'm going to link it. I think I can link it. Hold on. Go ahead. You're going to be shocked when I say this. Trump doesn't like you as a Christian. This is from the Atlantic. The headline is Trump mocks his voting base. Well, the article says clear today, Trump secretly mocks his Christian supporters. This doesn't surprise me. The man is the purest form of hedonism. I don't even know if that sentence makes sense. Purest form of hedonism. That is a contradiction, if I ever heard one. But he is. I mean, this was a man who was on Jeffrey Epstein's flight list. This was a man who allegedly groped underage teens. This was a man who has many rape allegations against him. This was a man who said you can grab women by their genitalia and they let you do it because you're a star. This man has several accusations against him. Now, if you want to go and point out, well, the Tara Reade thing with Joe Biden, I cannot tell you on how many levels that disturbs me, and I cannot tell you on how many levels that the position we are in as a country is we have to choose between the lesser of the two rapists is absolutely disgusting to me. I also think there should be some kind of, that if Biden wins, there should definitely be some type of fucking inquiry into that when he's president. Because this is a post-Me Too movement, and we have to take claims like this extremely credibly. Because how else are we to discourage or are we to demonize rape if we aren't getting women into a situation where they feel safe to say, I was sexually assaulted by someone? And there's many different levels of that. I have a book from a professor of mine who wrote about situations like that. Okay, thanks, I guess. One of my good friends from college was a conservative. He was significantly older than me, but we were both Jewish. We both had commonality there. We had commonality in other areas as well, but I think we both had mutual respect for we had and have mutual respect for each other, because at the end of the day, we were not people who didn't think things through. We just came to radically different conclusions. Now, you might say that is an intolerable position to have, but my main view is that I'm trying to think about what I want to say here. I'm just going to take another swig of this. The Supreme Court thing also scares me to no end. I mean, that is a worst case scenario if I've ever seen one. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg had her problems, okay? There was no doubt in that in my mind, especially for my position as a leftist. But I wish she was still alive. I wish we weren't in this position. What we're seeing now is the Republicans' hypocrisy on full display, which no one was surprised by. I saw a John Oliver clip where he even pointed out that this well-known person who he was a representative from North Carolina said if Hillary Clinton wins the presidency and there is a vacancy on the court, they would stretch an entire presidential term to fill that seat. So it shows this party has no moral backbone. I mean, the sad thing is about this country at the end of the day, when we're talking about Democrats and Republicans, we're arguing center right, the Democratic Party, versus far right, which is the Republican Party. To tell you how insane American political discourse is, you have to go by internationally and, well, by the European measure of it. Bernie Sanders' positions would be considered moderate in European countries. His position on healthcare alone would be considered a mainstream position in the UK. Boris Johnson is more left wing than Donald Trump and Joe Biden when it comes to healthcare. Boris Johnson. That is insane to me. Now, the main problem is people, I got this comment, which was, well, Trump is a healthcare plan. And every time I read that talking, I read that and I hear that talking point, all that comes to my mind is, what healthcare plan? This man had most of his presidency to come up with a healthcare plan to replace Obamacare. What he did instead was nullify it by getting rid of the individual mandate. Because here's the secret of Obamacare, if you really want to talk about it. Obamacare is a combination of Richard Nixon's healthcare plan from the 1970s and is also the Republican healthcare plan of the 1990s. So the main reason they could not get rid of Obamacare is because it was the only way to really have private insurance balance out in a way that was regulated. That might seem like a word salad, but Obama didn't run on universal health care. Obama didn't campaign on universal health care. I wish he did. Hillary Clinton was way better than Obama when it came to universal health care, and she should have campaigned on that in 2016, but she was either bought out or got so beaten down by it that she concluded, no universal health care. But with Trump, in one of Trump's books, he praises Canada's healthcare plan. In 2017, he praised Australia's healthcare plan. So if Trump, even though he's a fascist, said, I'm going to sign an executive order for Medicare for all, okay, that sucks. I mean, you're still terrible, but okay, that's something. It's just that with this debate, you got these two old people who are basically the worst case scenarios for either party. Biden is better than Trump. I think objectively speaking, there's no doubt of that in my mind that Biden is better than Trump. I think just because he will be a slightly more right-wing version of Obama. I mean, I don't like that he's a slightly more right-wing version of Obama, but he's just going to continue Obama's presidency in some form. And I think I forgot what word I wanted to use for this. In terms of policy, that's what he'll do. I'm just trying to think of what else I want to say because I'm just tired. I got shit to do. My main views on Trump have always been that he's a fascist, that he was a threat to our country, that he's a threat to national security. Now, whether Trump is a genuine believer in fascism or not, what we are seeing here is an extremely desperate person try to hold on to power so that they can avoid the massive debts they need to pay. This is someone who has not said, we'll see, when it came to the question of will he leave office. This is stuff that was fear-mongered about Obama in 2012 and in 2016. And guess what happened under Obama? He had a peaceful transition to the man that said he wasn't born in this country. I have problems with Obama. There are moments where I despise Obama. However, the fact that we're even talking about a sitting president refusing to give up his power to whoever wins the election peacefully is something to worry about. Thankfully, the U.S. military is not willing to be on the side of the president when it comes to a possible coup d'etat, which is what you were seeing in this language. It's terrifying because, hello, this is how fascism. I mean, if you want to break it down, the United States has really always been an authoritarian country for several factors. One of these major factors is slavery existed for how many decades? For like over a century. Then black people had to still fight when slavery was over to get their right to vote, to try to make sure they had equal opportunity in the workforce, to try to make sure they could have reparations, points that Dr. King brought up in the late 60s. And we're still talking about it. The thing is, I want to talk about more stuff, but I'm afraid I'm reaching the point where I will not be coherent. So maybe I'm going to transition to talking about other stuff. I don't know what that other stuff is. um, okay, stupid thing to talk about now, since I talked about politics for a while. Um, I think my GoldenEye Blu-ray might be having disc rot. It looks a little weird on the bottom, but barely noticeable. But I'm just. The problem is, you want to know something crazy? If you try to buy GoldenEye individually on Blu-ray, I'm talking the 2015 release. That thing will cost you, how much? I think it was like I saw it going on Amazon for $39. Yes, disc rot is terrible. I made videos about that. Uh, okay. Well, I already changed the topic from politics because I said what I needed to say in the most coherent way I could say it. I still strongly advise you not to support Trump or vote for Trump. Because if one of, I think your cousin's talking point on Trump specifically was he's a Christian. Trump is not a Christian. If you ask Trump his favorite Bible verse, I'm sure he couldn't name it. Actually, he couldn't name it. He said, "Oh, the Bible's the greatest book of all time." Has he read the full Bible? My cousin has read the full Bible. And I guarantee you, if he were to ask Trump directly what's his favorite Bible passage, he could not name it. Trump has also mocked evangelicals. Please click the link. Because this man does not like you. He does not respect you. He does not respect your faith. He uses your faith as a means to get votes. If I'm going to say this about Biden, he said he's a proud Catholic. He said he's a devout Catholic. I can't believe I'm praising Biden. God damn it, I wanted to stay away from politics, but it looks like we're going back to it. Fuck. I wish it was Bernie. I wish Bernie won. I'm worried that Biden could lose. I think it's unlikely. More unlikely than Hillary Clinton because pandemic, plus you had a depression, and are on the verge of that depression getting worse, in my opinion. Another thing let me just get back to disc rod or whatever. Because, fuck it, that's a nice topic. That's a nice, peaceful topic. Okay. You can't say that objectively. I mean, you can't say that unless you're just that loyal to him that you're refusing to see the data is in front of you. This man has demonized his top expert on COVID. This man has made the death toll worse. There was an agency that Obama set up. I want to look it up. I think Chomsky brought this up in a Democracy Now! Interview. But I'm going to get a new tab open here. What the fuck do I want to look up? Trump. Here's a Vox article. I think Vox can hear a miss. No, he didn't. And the fact that 200,000 people are dead is a disgrace. It's disgusting. This man provided so much contradictory information. He didn't take it seriously. He didn't handle it. The worst part was there was a leaked segment in a Bob Woodward interview where he said he seemed to be taking it seriously in the same time period where he was downplaying it. He was saying, oh, this is scary because it transfers through the air and can kill a lot of people. But he didn't want to look like a failure. He didn't want a panic. So instead, he put us in a situation where we're still in quarantine. We still got to go out and wear masks. This is a terrifying precedent. And I want to tell you the agency that he got rid of. All right? Because I want you to look this up, seriously. All right? Because I think your logic is frankly very flawed. There are several articles on this, but this one is from late May. Okay, this is something from Mitch McConnell. Well, you're being foolish. Wear a mask, please, for your own safety and the safety of those who are immune compromised. There is no reason not to wear a mask. Masks are 70% more effective against COVID-19. Now, there are parameters you need to take. You can't touch the mask with your hands. If you can get them, I'd recommend you get rubber gloves and you carry a bottle of hand sanitizer and a little bottle of rubbing alcohol if you can get it. Please, I'm telling you as someone with asthma, and if you have family members who have asthma, you have a responsibility to those people in your family. If you really want to have family get-togethers, if you want to have family cookouts, if you know what, I want to be with my friends again. I want to hug my friends again. I want to be with the people I love and I care about. I want to hug them. I want to hold them. And I can't do that. I want to have them come here. I want to have a movie marathon with them. I can't do that. I can't do that because of this pandemic, for my safety and their own. You have even more of a reason to wear a mask. You will literally die if you don't. As someone with asthma myself, you cannot take that risk. It is beyond irresponsible already that you have chosen not to wear a mask. You have to be responsible. It sounds mean to say, but your daughters do not want you to die. I guarantee your 2-year-old daughter does not want their mommy to die. And to you, with Trump as my hero 3, your kids do not want you to die. I'm begging you to wear a mask. Okay, I might be getting emotional, but I take this seriously. If I had the same mindset that you guys are presenting in this feed, I would be dead. Or it would be very difficult for me to recover, and I would have beyond lasting results of it. Like, beyond negative lasting results of it. Anyway, let me look this up because this is something nobody talks about, really. Okay. Evidence shows Obama team left a pandemic game plan for Trump administration. I want to go back. Thank you, Vinny. I'm trying to remember Ebola. Remember how everybody hyped that up like it was going to be this horrible thing, and there was not one case of Ebola in the United States. There was not one casualty of that. Why? Because Obama set up a pandemic response unit. This was something Obama did. Again, you have even all of these points you're bringing up, my friend, provide even more of a reason for you to wear a mask and for you to vote against Trump. Damn it. See what you made me do? You made me pound the table slightly, which made me knock this thing over. You see what you guys make me do? It's crooked now. This stream is a disaster. Hey. You want me to say it? Your life matters. Your life matters. You're important. You have people who love you. You have people who care about you. You have people who want you to live to be in your, let's say, 90s. I think most people who enjoy living want to live in their 90s. Benjamin Dixon, who has become one of my favorite commentators. I'm going to stop pounding the table because if I do, this thing is going to slide down again. And it's going to irritate the heck out of me. To be frank, you guys are making it really hard to rationalize why you still support Trump. I cannot put it more bluntly than this. This man has made your life and my life far more difficult than it needs to be. If we had, could this pandemic have happened under Hillary Clinton? Very possibly. Would Hillary Clinton have gotten rid of Obama's pandemic response unit like Trump did? Of course not. Can you afford to take that risk with this virus? You know how much it sucks that we're even having this discussion? That I need to try to beg you guys to get this point? Trump is my hero 03. You have even more of a reason to despise Donald Trump than I do. You have even more of a reason. Donald Trump does not value you. Donald Trump does not value your life. Donald Trump, despite what he pretends to be, has never been the people's billionaire. I don't give a shit what the argument is, if he's a billionaire or not because of his tax returns being leaked. I don't care about that. The fact is, this man has consistently made himself up to be the epitome of wealth and extravagance. Do you think someone like that cares about the average American? Really? He does not care about you. He cares about your vote. He cares about remaining in power. There are some okay things Trump did that I was somewhat okay with. And for one thing, actually, here are several points that we were thinking Trump might do. We're still in Iraq. We're still in Afghanistan. We're still having these 8 conflicts in the Middle East. And yes, I'm fully aware Obama expanded Bush's 2 wars to 8. Trump surpassed Obama's death toll when it came to civilian drone casualties in his first year versus Obama's entire 10 years as president. That is scary. That point alone should show you that how little he cares about human life. And it sounds crazy to say this. It really does. But we are dealing with a president who does not care about his people. He bolsters. He puts on a show. However, like many authoritarians and fascists before him, he will use his power to smash any form of dissent. The incident right when the George Floyd protests were happening, that was a clear example of that. We should be thankful. It feels terrible to say this, but I'm thankful it was only tear gas and not something much worse. This man allowed tear gas canisters to be shot into protest crowds during a pandemic. I guarantee you had people in there who had breathing difficulties. My good sir, my good madam, the 2 people who are Trump supporters who like my content, I thank you for liking my content, but I strongly encourage you to reconsider your support for the president. That's wrong. I don't want to go into rioting, but there is a book I'm going to look into getting. And I talked about this earlier. You have to understand rioting on a systemic level. I'm going to give you guys some book titles. There are other books I'd like to link, but I am deeply disturbed that you wrote that you would be okay with people being killed over rioting. I find that very disturbing. No human life is worth a smashed window or a destroyed store. I'm not justifying rioting. I don't agree with rioting. I think it's self-destructive. I think ultimately it doesn't help anything. But we're talking about human lives here. The position I will always take, one of my positions as a far left individual, is the sacredness of life, even the life of my supposed enemy. Because I do not believe in the needless bloodshed that will come from violent confrontations. It's horrible. At the end of the day, it is absolutely horrible. Because someone will lose a family member, someone will lose their son, their daughter, their father, their husband, their wife, their mother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle. I'm being as real as I can. I believe in empathy on principle. What inspires my politics is my compassion for people, and that I despise human suffering. And that, for me at least, the only logical conclusion was to move my politics further left. You see what you guys did? Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. People are talking, okay, well, let me tell you about the rioting. Did you think that when you voted for Trump, or when you supported Trump, that you would be dealing with race riots again? That you would be dealing with riots? That you would even be having the conversations of justifying killing your fellow American because of riots? Did you think that when you cast your vote for Donald Trump, that you would have these conversations? Even when I voted for Hillary Clinton, I didn't think that 4 years from now we'd be dealing with a pandemic and the race issues of the 60s and stuff that my father talked about when he was young. I never thought in my life I would ever experience any of that. And yet here we are. Yet here we are having this conversation. Yet here I am reading these comments in my stream. The fact that we are having these conversations should frighten us. This is a disturbing time. I don't like Joe Biden. I got my issues with Joe Biden. Am I going to vote for him? Of course I'm going to vote for him. Not just because I live in a swing state, but because I want to get Trump out. Because Trump has done more harm than good. Do you think that if Hillary Clinton was president, that you would have a resurgence of white supremacy? And I'm not saying, and now don't misconstrue my words here, please. Do not misconstrue my words. White supremacy has been on a steady rise for over a decade. So it was inevitable that an ideologue like Trump would take advantage of that and would use certain phrases to get them to feel comfortable again, because that is what Trump has done. This is something that the President of the United States has done. Charlottesville was a turning point. It really was a turning point in our country. Not just Charlottesville, but the aftermath of Charlottesville. How Trump handled it. Now don't give me well, what about the whole context? You want to talk about the Confederate monuments here? I'll give you my view of the Confederate monuments. I hate them. I think the majority of them should be taken down and thrown in the scrapyard. Even Robert E. Lee and many Confederates who fought in the war said they don't want. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your industry. What Trump is doing. All right, let me look it up. Trump does not care about the working American. What about Joe Biden? I think he cares a little more than Trump. Now, maybe that's some manufacturing consent shit. Um, all right. Actions speak louder than words. Well, the one thing that's hurt Trump's policy, that hurts his issues. Okay. There is no Trump care. Trump does not have a health care plan. I don't know how else I can break this to you. Donald Trump, in his tenure as president, has not been able to come up with a replacement for Obamacare. Now, as a leftist, I can tell you what the replacement to Obamacare is: Medicare for all. But he does not want that. He said, "What is it? What do the words of a man who lies every single day mean? What does his word mean? May I ask? What does a promise of a man who has broken promises repeatedly mean? The word of a liar means not a goddamn thing. Pardon my French. He does not have a plan. He has never had a plan. If he had a plan, he would have done it in his first 100 days. He would have done it in his first year. And yet he hasn't. Frankly, do you want to know the ultimate reason why? Because Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is the perfect Republican health care plan. It's the best thing you're going to get. You have to look at the creation of the Affordable Care Act. Richard Nixon proposed something extremely similar in the 1970s as what? A opposition to Medicare for all. I don't know. I don't know what my next review is going to be. But I need to, maybe you two will not be convinced by me. But I can't help but feel that you two have been lied to. And to a point, I understand where you're coming from to the best I can. Because I don't live your life. I live very comfortably. I have not lived in your shoes fully. But from my reading of history, from studying history, from talking to people, from watching documentaries, and reading as many books as I can, I'd like to believe I have some ability to discuss issues with people who I strongly disagree with to the best I can. Because that's what's wrong with this damn country. It's that, yes, we get offended by things. Is that political correctness run amok? I don't think so. I think it's a larger issue. I think it's always been an American problem. The narrative of we are the greatest country on earth. And through that narrative comes a lot of issues. If we were the greatest country on earth, why would we have a president? Why would we have a process where someone who was not chosen by the people wins an election? This has happened twice in 1 century. I mean, that is insane. Bush beat Kerry in 04. Obama beat McCain in 08. Obama beat Romney in 12. So we're not saying Bush. I mean, Bush was extremely popular post 9/11. He had the highest approval rating of any president. Like after 9/11, a position that I think was, that we can all say in hindsight was completely ridiculous, but not understandable at the time. I don't know when I'm going to do a review. My next Blu-ray update will probably be at some point in the future. Reagan is one of my least. I despise Ronald Reagan. If I could change any period in history, like immediately, I would change the election of Ronald Reagan. I think if Carter had a third term, what the fuck? Oh yeah, president only had one term, somehow going to have a second and third magically. Yeah. No, I meant I would have preferred if Carter got a second term. I think if Carter, I blame this for what I just said about the third term crap. I will tell you this, look up Iran-Contra. And when it comes to Bush, the Patriot Act, how he handled 9/11, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, the creation of mass surveillance, defying international law. I mean, Bush set so many precedents that were terrible. And that Obama and Trump both continued in some form or another. So, yes, it will. In my point of view, I don't understand why this question is in a stream. Why is this question in a stream? You think COVID-19 happened? Yes, and it led to Marvel zombies. Carol Danvers is eating Captain America, is eating Steve Rogers' brains. I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. I mean, I'm a film major, but I'm not making movies. Oy vey. I will agree, the vice presidential debate I'm going to watch because Kamala is not Tim Kaine. Hello, Trump or Biden person. Yeah, I bought these, so I'm voting for Biden. Oops. Yeah. I don't know why the stream is like mirrored, but then you're gravely mistaken. You're wrong. I mean, it's like you can't tell someone they're wrong for voting who they're voting for, but I mean, yes, you can. I talked about other crap with Trump earlier in this stream. Just reconsider this. View it like this. Do you have health insurance to cover the cost of dealing with of dealing with the hospital bill that'll happen if you get COVID or a family member gets COVID? I mean, how will you feel if a family member dies of this virus? They die. You die. You're immune compromised, like me. You have worse asthma than I do. To be frank, it feels like in this thread and in these comments I'm reading, it feels like you're willing to die for Trump. It feels like you're willing to die for this president. Let me tell you, if Biden was handling this virus horribly, I'd vote third party or I would vote someone else. I would not go with the party vote if the other party had a better plan for this virus. I mean, you want to know? I even said this: if Obama had been president during this virus and he handled it the same way Trump is handling it, you would have had a good case for impeachment. You would have had the best case for impeachment, period. But the Democrats blew it on freaking Russia and election meddling. And honestly, given how much the Senate praises Trump and is almost like a second hand. And your argument is Republicans are better. My friend, the Republicans have been far more corrupt than the Democratic Party could ever be. This is the party that enacted the Patriot Act. This is the party that started the war on terror. This is the party that continues to allow campaign financing to be legal. This is, from super PACs. I frankly don't know or care what that comment means. Movies are art. Art can go beyond Hollywood. The Democratic Party is not the evil demon you're making out to be in your views. The Democratic Party my friend, that is the most illogical position I've ever heard. Okay, so if Biden becomes president, you're going to support everything he does, even if it's things you strongly disagree with morally and on principle. I'm sorry if I'm being confrontational, but I find these talking points and I find these positions extremely illogical. It's like, yeah, Democrats are corrupt, obviously. But Republicans are more corrupt. I'm not arguing that Democrats aren't corrupt. This is the party. I don't know. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe people are trolling me. I don't know. I don't care. I'm here to talk to people. I'm here to vent. Whatever it is, honestly. I'd like to think if you've watched any political video I've made, that you would understand that I try my best to be as critical as possible about my choices regarding electoral politics. I supported Bernie Sanders in the primary because I trusted his voting record. Not only because of his policies like Medicare for All and free college for all, policies that I believe are necessary for our country to survive and thrive, because if people don't have college debt, then they can contribute to the economy more. They can buy things. They can buy a house. They can start a family. I mean, I'm not sure if I really would call myself. Well, I don't trust capitalism, but if we're going by what could sustain capitalism, then I think Bernie's policies were the best option for that. Well, I'm glad you think I'm chill because 3 years ago I was a heretic asshole. Well, maybe 2 years ago. I became less confrontational because I just didn't want to be confrontational anymore. Look, from what you guys have told me, it's in your best interest to vote for Biden. It really is. Just from the standpoint of this pandemic. Trump's failed the American people on this pandemic. He has failed the people when it comes to supporting BLM. I mean, my ultimate position is this: the police force in the United States is overburdened. The police aren't trained to be social workers. The police aren't trained to be the best psychologists. I mean, we've had how many instances where police use lethal or as close to lethal force as possible when it comes to those with disabilities or learning disabilities like autism? You need to have other things in place besides policing. I'm not for abolish the police. I mean, dude, just go for Biden for your own safety. This man will destroy the climate. Talking about Trump here. Trump does not support climate change. Even though in 2009 he wrote a letter writing how he signed a letter saying he was concerned about climate change, but now all of a sudden he's a Republican nominee. So, climate change is off the table now. I wonder why that is. Even though in Trump's own resorts, right, he's starting to put up little walls in anticipation that sea levels are going to rise. So it just goes to show you how much of a hypocrite he is on that front. Oy vey. Yeah. I'm happy this comment section has been respectful, but my head is tired. My brain is numb. It's like, I talk too much. I want to get my hamster, but she's asleep. Bud is on the phone. Nothing. Look, you want the best right-wing reasons I could give you to support Joe Biden? Joe Biden picked a prosecutor as his vice presidential running mate. Joe Biden does not support the riots that are happening. I don't get how you could like both. They're both terrible. But my argument is Biden is the lesser of two evils. Trump has always been the greater of two evils. Ugh. Don't go to rallies at this point. I mean, what more do you want me to say? You're going to get COVID if you go to one of these. Most of these people are not wearing masks. Most of these people are not, no, these people aren't doing proper social distancing. Which, by the way, 6 feet isn't really an accurate number for that. 6 feet was only for influenza. That's an old figure. 6 feet is not enough. So you're going to get COVID if you go to one of these rallies, or you have a very strong chance of getting it. Like, just look up Joe Biden's policies and look up Trump's policies and view them as close as possible. And you tell me which one you want to vote for. Or frankly, you tell me 200 dead. Well, talk to your wife and hopefully, to be blunt, I hope your wife convinces you to vote for Biden. Because if some random 20-something YouTuber isn't, your wife should. Because, I could have watched Toy Story instead of this. I don't know if this accomplished anything. I'm going to do other stuff now. Maybe go to bed. Well, that's a terrible position to have. Your children are more important to you. Your children are more important, regardless of their age, than a presidential election. If I had kids and they voted for Trump, I'd be angry. I'd be disgusted. I'd like to know why. But I would never kick them out because they're my flesh and blood. And you should have that view on it with your children. Because your relationship with your children is more important than a presidential election. Might seem that I'm lecturing, but that's how I feel. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed. So, live long and prosper and have a good day.